Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Vesuvius Committee of the Whole meeting, April the 13th, 2021 at 9 a.m. in Council Chambers. First of all, we will need a resolution to exclude the public, and it'll be moved and seconded that in accordance with Ministerial Order M192, Town of Vesuvius Committee of the Whole meeting be closed to the public due to the inability to meet physical distancing recommendations made under the Public Health Act in Council Chambers, located at 8707 Main Street, and that to ensure openness, transparency, accessibility, and accountability, Town of Vesuvius Committee of the Whole meetings will be recorded, streamed, and published on the town's website. May I have a thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor? It's carried, thank you. Approval of the agenda and late items. No late items, Mrs. Helson, thank you. Could we please have a motion to move that the Committee of the Whole agenda be approved? Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. And the adoption of the minutes. These would be the Committee of the Whole minutes from March the 23rd, 2021. Need a motion, please, to accept those. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Harvey, all in favor. Thank you. No business arising for petitions. We have some staff reports this morning. And first up, we will have the Fire Department quarterly report. Mr. McCaskill, would you like to come up to the microphone? Thank you.
Hello, good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. So, I'll start off with our emergency calls. We've broken them down for you into the call types. I'm sure you will all have the list. So we've broken down the calls. We had 54 calls in the first quarter. So we've broken them down by call types. And then furthermore into the town, rural, and out of the fire protection, which would be highway rescue, mutual aid. So we've had 37 calls within town, 12 in the rural, and 5 outside fire protection. We have our average response time, and there's a star beside it. I want to point that out. It's showing 11 minutes and 50 seconds on our average response, which is not accurate. Most of our calls in town range from 6 to 9 minutes. Heading to the cottages, heading to the Bridesville area for highway rescue or calls out there, it's upped our time. I've taken our structure fires, and again, the average response time is 7 minutes. So in town, we're really where we want to be, under the 10-minute mark. The average turnout for the department is 8.83 members per call. That is also a little bit off. Our major calls, we have an average of 15 to 20. A lot of people can't leave work for minor calls. A lot of our calls are lift assist and alarm activations where they may not leave. So a lot of people won't get up at 3 in the morning to go to a lift assist. So our numbers are lower. Total personnel hours are 442. So we definitely have a lot of hours already. Again, our calls are at 54 in the first quarter, and they're already up from that. So I said the time to the cottages, on average, it takes us 16 to 20 minutes to get out there. So that is why again, the times are a little bit higher. So we've broken down the value of the property saved. So we're $10,547,875.
Oh, excuse me, go ahead, Councillor Harvey.
I just have to unmute. Thank you, Ryan. Just on the previous one with the statistics, I don't see the period that covers. Is that 2020 or is that the last quarter or
this last quarter? So from what did it, April?
January 1 to March 30th.
January 1st till March 30th.
Okay, and you put total personnel hours 442. Is that up on a quarter over quarter kind of measure?
Yeah, we are busier than normal. It's been,
Okay.
go
Is
ahead.
it putting stress on your budget then, as far as, on-call hours?
Not so much yet. It may further down, but that is nothing we can control at the moment. I don't think there's anything we can do about the calls. They're actual calls coming in. So yeah, they might be a little bit up there.
Go ahead, Mr. Chabot.
Your Worship, I just want to say that, this is our first attempt at these quarterly reports for council. The idea is to create the opportunity for discussion and questions, just like Councillor Harvey's asking. One of the things I noticed, I wasn't here last week to review these, was a little bit of inconsistency, like the fire department doesn't include any dates. Jared's then includes the dates, and it says from January to April 2021. Well, it's, to April, but not through April. Gina's has got the meeting date on it, so it's less than clear. One of the things that I've struggled to figure out how it's best done is where do we do the financial implications, because at our next committee of the whole, we'll have the Director of Finance provide an overview of the budget and year-to-date actuals versus budget. And so it's somewhat disconnected from the departmental reports, and how we might put those into these instead is something I struggle with. I know I mentioned that to Director Braunstein yesterday. I said, well, it would have been nice if perhaps we thought about tying budget performance and year-to-date expenditures into these reports as well. Just what that'll look like going forward, I can't say for sure. But in 2 weeks' time, the Director of Finance will go through the operating department's budgets for council as well.
Thank you. So it does say, Councillor Harvey, on the agenda, under each one of the staff reports, it points out the dates. So that was on there, not actually on the report, but it is on both my agendas at the beginning. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. McCaskill.
All right. So value of property saved, we're at $10,547,875. Property lost is at $462,950. So in the first quarter, we responded to 5 structure fires and 1 unclassified inside the structure. 4 people were sent to the hospital and 2 succumbed to their injuries. We've had some major structures at risk. We had the retirement center at risk. So that was, we lost $1,500 to that, the alarm panel. It caught fire, and so they lost $1,500, and we saved $8,824,900. So then we responded to Oliver for mutual aid, and while we're out in Oliver, we ended up doing a chimney fire out there and saving the building out there. So we had two out of the 8. We had two ambulance assists. 2 of them were request to enter, so forcibly enter the premises so the ambulance could get in. And I'm going to move on to the training. Currently we have 33 members. We have a waiting list to bring on more. We don't want to bring them in as of yet because we have a lot of, 10 1001s. So 1001 firefighter 1 and 2 is a professional qualifications. We're trying to get those members through. They're in their last couple, they're done all their written exams, so they're in the last steps of becoming 1001 members, so professional firefighters. We want to get them through before we bring anybody else in, because we're getting too many people all over the map in training, so we can keep them in groups, small groups, and we can keep them all together. So we completed a 2.5-day wildland engineer operations course, a 2-day critical incident stress management team training. So obviously with our calls in the first quarter, we had 2 fatalities, which really affected the department. We went and had a team, I think of 8 members go through this training, so we can do all our critical incident stress in-house instead of bringing someone in to help us deal with it. And we did a 1-day chlorine response class, because we were going to take that from the town. We'll start doing the chlorine response. Any spills, we'll deal with it. Again, COVID is restricting us from doing a lot of training. Everything seems to be online or very small classes, so we're not getting the numbers we want to. We're doing broken up classes of 10, which is, it'd be nice to have someone come in and do one group of 20 right off the bat instead of doing one here and one there, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Public education, same thing. COVID's really keeping us from getting around, getting out to the public. When we can, we do. When we're doing the wildland engineer operations course, we were able to meet some of the residents up in the golf course area, and we did like a fire smart with them as part of the course, so we did try to get around, but it's not what we want. But again, restrictions are keeping us from getting where we want. So we took delivery of our new MSA G1, so the air packs. We have them. They're in service. We did the training. We were required to put them in service, so everybody in the department is trained to do those. Our upgrades for our fill station are complete. So our tanks were 2,600. We're at 4,500 bottles now. So our compressor is capable of filling those. Again, going back to the NFPA 1001, so the training, we're on schedule to have those members through, fully certified, in the spring. We're there, so we're just putting all the paperwork, sending it in, and they will be where they need to be. And the rapid response vehicle, requests for proposals have been completed and submissions have been evaluated and will be presented to you later today.
Go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So I like this report. This is a good step upwards as far as I'm concerned. I wanted to, I know how frustrating false alarms are for your department, and they seem extraordinarily low. Are we progressing? I can remember seeing that many in a week, let alone 3 months.
The alarm activations, since the fines have come into play, they get their 1, 2, and then they're fined. It's amazing how the fines have actually changed. That's all due to the fines. Obviously, they don't get fined for every poll station, kids polling poll stations. They're not going to get fined for. But renovations, if the alarm goes off due to a renovation, they will be fined, and they can fine the restoration company or whoever, but they will get fined for that. So yeah, it's got a lot to do with the fines coming into play there.
Great.
Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ryan, I don't know that you can answer this question. It might be still a bit preliminary, but because this is a public meeting, I'm asking on behalf of interested citizens in terms of where are we at with the new chief? And maybe that's better for Mr. Chabot.
Yeah, Your Worship, I'll happily answer that. We've offered the position to an individual. He's verbally accepted, waiting to receive a signed copy of a contract to be returned. Estimated start date would be, what the heck was it, June the 14th? June the 14th would be a start date. So hope to have that agreement back in the next day or so. And for him to announce to his employer, and then we can announce to council and the community the individual's name.
Thank you.
June 7th.
June 7th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. What's the average age of the new recruits? Are they kind of getting younger, or are they all
Volunteering.
roughly speaking?
Honestly, they're
all over?
they're all over, yeah. Actually, not even sure of the exact ages, but we have members in their 50s, 30s, and early 20s.
They're excellent.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Thank you.
So, I just want to say thank you to you and Tyler for doing such a great job of managing the department. It's really, there's way more members, there's more, stats proving that whatever you guys are doing is working. So, thank you very much. We really appreciate all the work that you and, Mr. Hilland have put in.
Thank you. I do want to say that, yeah, the morale of the department is probably higher than it's ever been. It is continually staying elevated, and it is nice. The members are eager, and yeah, no, nothing but positives.
Well, that's great, because obviously you've got a waiting list of people wanting to come in. That's a really good, that's terrific. So very good news. Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks.
And now we're going to have our Operations Services Department Manager. And I'd just like to give credit to Mr. Brownstein, because normally on the weekends I get quite a few calls. Usually they're people that have a concern, and they often start at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So this weekend I had one call, and it was a positive one, and the gentleman said that he had been complaining to us about not having the lines painted on Main Street, and there were several people, of course, that were concerned with that. But this gentleman said, "I just want to thank you very much for getting the Ministry of Highways to paint the lines." And I said, "I will definitely pass that on to our operations manager, who I know phoned Department of Highways and said, we're doing the rest of the town, we need this done now." So thank you very much, Mr. Brownstein, that was much appreciated. So you're going to give us a quarterly update on the Operational Services Department.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. A little bit different format than the fire departments. Again, still trial and error with this stuff. I guess to start off, I have a question for council. Do you find this information more informative, or do you want to see stats? Do you want to understand how many service requests we process in a given quarter? Do you want to see where my budgets are at? Again, this is information for council to take in. I can write things up 6 days to Sunday. I just want to know what
Yeah,
you
thank
guys
you,
are
Madam
looking
Mayor. I prefer stats attached to money.
Okay.
I mean, these look like great things we've done. They're just one-offs like you picked out, and I'm sure you've done a lot more than what's on this presentation.
Yep.
So I'd rather see kind of a list and attach it to some costs. Make sure you're in budget, understand you're in budget.
And I appreciate what you've done here as well, so I think it's very interesting to see this and understand how the projects that we have okayed and we worked at are shaping up, and pictures, because sometimes we miss those. So thank you. Councillor Harvey?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is interesting, but it's more in the nature of anecdotal, and so I would like to see a listing of projects that are underway and where they're at with respect to on time and on budget. I mean, this is the normal operations, managing wastewater, managing parks, that's great. It's informative, but for council, I think it's, for me as a councillor, in addition to these comments, that kind of project-based flow. We started, we're 6 months in, we're on time, the budget, blah, 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 blah. That kind of reporting would be helpful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And that could go along with Mr. Zackel's report, where he goes through each one of those things and does that with us as well. So maybe a combination. And Councillor Rowe, do you have a question?
No, just a comment. Thank you. So I like this format the way it is, because this is a committee of the whole meeting. It is a public document that people can look at if they so choose. And there is information in there that not just questions about you know, some projects. I don't know if I'd want to see it expanded, but certainly comments about jobs that are visible in the public, you know, are important for people who want, you know, information about things like, you know, why is my street dug up and, you know, that kind of thing. And that's important. I feel that's a good thing to have. Whether the public looks at it or not is another thing, but at least we're being transparent in that area.
People always look when there's pictures, so
That's true.
that's a
Yeah.
good thing. Go ahead, Mr. Brownstein.
So again, Your Worship, just kind of a brief overview of what we've been doing as a department in regards to our water and wastewater systems. Again, these are small snippets of what we do in an overall day. Again, trying to keep these quarterly reports fairly short and to the point and as informative as best I can without basically giving you a whole big laundry list of everything we do. So again, recent activities for our water and wastewater systems, we've been doing some mainline collection, wastewater collection mainline flushing. So as pointed out here, it's just to address some of our trouble spots, to get rid of fog with our system, which is fats, oils, and greases. These are built up due to hotels, restaurants, etc. It's just a natural occurrence within our wastewater system, and we need to address these on a timely basis, or it creates blockages in our systems and causes emergency call at some point. Our parks, again, as we're continuing to tidy things up, as we're trying to make things more easily maintainable for our crews, we've been busily raising valve boxes and exposing valve boxes. So you might see, for instance, the park out front here, the valve boxes are now exposed, they're visible, whereas before they were buried under sod. So again, it makes our response that much easier. Roads, sweeping, and more sweeping, getting all the winter sand off the road. There's a lot of it. We had some hiccups in the beginning of the sweeping season due to the new piece of equipment. Our operators are still getting used to it. We've gotten that under control now, and it seems to be the machine is performing quite well. Agriculture irrigation system. We did have a lot of early water requests this year with the dry spring. People were wanting starting to water their crops sooner than normal, so we were busy turning on the water system, bringing 2 stations online, and getting our core irrigation systems up and running, which we are now fully online. And then just some general operations, a couple of new units that we purchased to make staff safer, easily performed work. So one is unit 2021-01, which is a new aerial unit for doing banners, Christmas lights, tree pruning, etc. This is to replace our knuckle boom bucket combination, which isn't the best way to be putting people into the air. And the second vehicle is unit 2021-02, which is a new crew cab for our summer students. So previously they were riding around in a regular cab truck, 3 of them crammed in the front seat. Again, not the best situation, especially when you have people of different sexes running around in the front crammed together. So we decided to purchase a crew cab truck to allow them to have the opportunity to one space out to be able to store their equipment, their PPE, etc. in a dry, warm environment, and just give them the ability to get their legs when they're going from site to site to site.
So can I ask, is this piece of equipment, it's then used by other operators during the rest of the year?
So it's currently being used by me, Your Worship.
Sorry?
So it's currently being used by me, Your Worship.
So
yes, no, the piece of equipment will be used for other things during the off season when we're not using it for summer students.
Go ahead, Councillor Rose.